Suicide is a leading cause of death for young people. Many potential years of life are lost when a young person dies. And so if we compare suicide to heart disease is the leading cause of death in this country. But for the most part, those people who are dying of heart disease tend to be older. So they're not losing a lot of potential years of life. Whereas suicide affects people across the lifespan, and when a young person dies, they lose many potential years of life. So in fact, the potential years of life lost are actually quite similar between suicide and heart disease. I think it's seeing the momentum in this room is really impressive. A suicide cluster occurs when multiple suicides occur in one place, close in time. And it seems to be reasonably common, particularly among young people. And this has raised ideas about possible suicide contagion. And the theory around suicide contagion is that one person's suicide may lead others to think about suicide. And there's a couple of proposed ways that this could happen. There could be a personal connection between the first person who's dying and subsequent people who are affected. So it could be that those other people are grieving the original death. There could be a common cause that connects those people together. There could have been a communication about suicide, like a suicide pact or something like that. Or the other possibility is that there's a media or group communication. The dark blue bars, that's the percentage of kids who are saying that they're seriously thinking about suicide at schools where someone in their school has died of suicide in the last year. So this is a really strong and striking relationship. We see similar effects if we ask those kids about suicide attempts instead of just asking about their own suicidal thoughts. We see increased risk among those children where they report that someone in their school has died of suicide in the last year. What we can see is that 2 years after a schoolmate has died of suicide, there's still an increased risk of suicide attempts among those children. And if it's someone you personally know, again, there's still an increased risk 2 years later. The suicide contagion effect appears to affect adolescents of all ages, but particularly the younger ones. So there may need to be stronger attention on them. And the effects seem to last longer than we previously anticipated. So longer-term programs or revisiting suicide postvention programs might be a good idea. And then the other thing is that postvention strategies that are targeting high-risk groups may actually be missing some kids that were equally affected. So this really supports school-wide or community-wide postvention after a suicide. So if we start with awareness programs for the general public, these are basically aimed at improving understanding of causes and risk factors of suicidal behavior and reducing stigma around mental illness and suicidal behavior. And the idea is that as we educate people, that this will lead to better recognition of risk factors and allowing people to seek help or help others to seek help and eventually lowering rates of suicide.
A part of being here and part of Ian's slides, he showed circles of connections to people. And leaving here today, we're all connected to many people who weren't here today. And one of the ways that we can further suicide prevention is when we leave here today, talk to someone about it. Talk to them about what you saw, what you heard today. And like we said, have that conversation, have that talk about mental health, about suicide prevention. We're made up of many agencies involved in public health, community health, police, people with lived experience, and our real goal is to help prevent future tragedies in the City of Ottawa across the lifespan. So from young children, adolescents, right up to the geriatric community, we really want to make a difference and we want your involvement.